So what a year it's been. We get ready to usher in and say hello to 2025 and goodbye to 2024. Several news stories right now on the forefront. They're going to cross over to the new year. Of course, abroad, you've got the world at war. Specifically, wars in the Middle East. You know the deal. In Europe. Domestically, we get ready to usher in a new commander-in-chief, an oldie but a goodie. The 45th president will become the 47th POTUS, Donald J. Trump. Here's a little historical fast fact for you. Trump becomes only the second president in U.S. history to win non-consecutive terms. The other, in the late 1800s, Grover Cleveland. Maybe that'll win you a shot someday in trivia question at the bar. Who knows? At least that, again, is a fast fact. In addition to those news stories, you have the mysterious drones hovering all over New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, as far west as Texas, Oregon, spotted in San Diego, then back east in the mid-Atlantic. They've spotted them in Maryland. No one knows where the drones, who they belong to, what the hell they're doing there, why they're zipping around. But we all know Biden and his team are doing absolutely nothing about it and lying to us. What's new? Those are just some of the news stories that will cross into 2025 from 2024. And unfortunately, we'll also take Luigi with us. Yes, Luigi Mangione. He became famous in a news story on December 9th. That was when he was apprehended by police in Altoona, Pennsylvania, about 300 miles from New York City, where on December 4th, a masked, hooded murderer in the dawn wee hours of morning on that early day in December, 6:45 a.m., murdered in cold blood the CEO, the chief executive officer of United Healthcare. Here's Luigi to the left. There's the guy he murdered, Brian Thompson, the 50-year-old to the right. Thompson was in town for business to do a seminar with investors across the street. He was staying at the Midtown Marriott Hotel. I've stayed at that Marriott Hotel several times before. He was going to skip across the street to go to the Hilton to conduct his day of business. Luigi popped out with this ghost gun, 3D ghost gun with a 3D suppressor, pulled the trigger a handful of times, plugged 3 shots into Thompson. By 7:15 a.m., he was pronounced dead at the hospital. Leaves behind 2 kids in his home state of Minnesota, dead again at 50. And Luigi becomes famous. Took law enforcement a few days to get that picture out. When they finally did, a worker in Altoona spotted Luigi, called the local authorities. They came down. He was chomping on a hash brown. And they started asking him, hey, have you been in New York City recently? He got all nervous. He gave him false identification, same ID that he used to check into a hostel prior to the murder of Thompson in NYC. And then they searched him. They found the gun. Along with the IDs, they had enough to apprehend them, throw a couple of felony charges against him, phone up the authorities in New York City. Later that day, they charged him. And Luigi certainly threw a bit of a hissy fit when they first apprehended him. Take a look and take a listen. Wasn't so happy. Now here we are, a few days from Christmas, and he got a Christmas gift. In addition to being slapped with about a dozen charges by New York State, he was slapped with federal charges. Now, as you take a look at the dramatic video, something from like a Hollywood movie, with all the law enforcement armed, accompanying him with Mayor Adams of New York City. Well, Luigi's in some hot water because He'll be held at the Metro Detention Center awaiting trial in Brooklyn, the only federal prison in New York City. By the way, that's where Sean Diddy Combs is. Maybe they'll be roommates. But Mangione could face the death penalty if found guilty of the federal murder charge against him, according to prosecutors. It's amazing. This is the same press, mainstream media, that the last few years tried to sell us on there's not a problem with the southern border. Joe Biden's healthy as an ox, right? Kamala Harris, she's America's golden girl. It's not like she ruined the country with Joe. You got to vote for her. The same mainstream media that pushed the Russia, and Hunter's laptop was a hoax. In other words, they're liars. And now they're trying to swerve Luigi into being a hero. And there are those dumb enough to eat it up. However, like the mainstream media with Kamala, saying that the election would be close, it wound up being a blowout. Don't you ever forget it. Look at the numbers. Trump also won the popular vote. Landslide. Right? It was going to be a close race. She was America's darling. Least we forget, she was the worst vice president in American history. We knew better. They try to sell you on all this crap. And I'd like to think that Americans know better. And Luigi right here, give you a little bit of his background. He's a 26-year-old software engineer, graduated from UPenn, an Ivy League school, although the Ivy League's not as prestigious as they once were. Now they're more of indoctrination factories. Story for a different day. Attended a prestigious prep school in Baltimore. The Gilman School, was valedictorian in 16. From a prominent, wealthy Baltimore family. Rich. Ties to real estate and the healthcare industries. So Luigi was given every opportunity to succeed. Supposedly he had a bad back. Had surgery. Went cuckoo after. Right? Estranged from his family. They reported him right before the death, his mom did, to the San Francisco police. They hadn't heard from him, friends or the family, since the summertime. Lost his mind. When police picked him up in Altoona, he had a nearly 300-page, 262-page manifesto. Kept a journal with entries about his crime and how he was premeditating the murder against Mr. Thompson and his distrust and hatred for the American healthcare system. Well, how about this, Luigi? I've had back pain. It sucks. I've dealt with healthcare companies. Horrible. I'm still dealing with them. I feel your pain, but I'm not a murderer. Doesn't give me the right, or you the right, or anyone to go out there and kill an innocent person. And anyone who supports him, I say, is just about as dumb, ignorant, and naive as Luigi. How the hell do you support this person? But people do. Take a look and listen to these folks. They're in the county courthouse outside of Altoona supporting Luigi. And they spoke to the media as to why they more or less find him a hero.
We are here because I have been personally affected by my health care and my inability to get health care because of my insurance and our just frankly terrible American healthcare system.
Universal health care now or free Luigi?
And privatized health care is a crime against humanity.
Because he did a very courageous thing. Because he's going against the wealthy people, you know. And this is, well, I would not risk my life to sit in jail. No way, you know, no thoughts about that. So I need to show support that he did something very important for the country.
It's not justified at all, but he brought the people together.
The word that they use, courageous, right? They toss that around and they make him into, again, being a hero. He's courageous. And you hear them talk about him having the right to do it. And that the one lady at the end says, oh, murder, it's not the right thing, but it brings people together. And the one thing I get out of this, and I've gotten out of society, especially since the summer of 2020, is how dismissive people are of cold blood murder, like what Luigi did to Mr. Thompson on that fateful morning in Manhattan on December 4th. It is, again, not okay to kill. And it's not okay to be dismissive. He took a life. The guy left 2 kids behind. I'm not saying he was innocent or a holier-than-thou figure. Yes, the healthcare industry is dirty. And Mr. Thompson had a couple lawsuits against him and some of his associates for insider trading. And at the end of the day, Luigi's going to hopefully get what he deserves. And you know what I say? Let him fry. Screw him. He could have used his brain, and he could have used all the resources he had to maybe become a litigator and become a hero, fighting the healthcare industry and people like Brian Thompson legally, lawfully, instead of with a gun and bullets.